The year is 1651, and mercantilism rules the British economy. The British colonies in North America exist for the sole purpose of making Britain wealthy.
You know, I bet we could get even more money out of those colonists over in the New World.
I am Oliver Cromwell. I rule England with Parliament because we chopped off the head of King Charles I. How can we get more money from the colonies?
We could keep them from trading with other countries.
Yeah, tell 'em no way. They can only buy English goods and sell goods to England. That sounds just brilliant. What should we call these rules? We could call them the Make the Colonists Miserable Acts.
No, that's stupid. We should call them the You Can't Do Anything with Anyone Else But Britain Acts.
Those are both awful. Let's call them the Navigation Acts.
Yay!
In Britain, people were happy with the Navigation Acts. They kept the country wealthy and powerful. But the colonists had a different point of view.
Oi, have you heard what old Cromwell just did?
No, I've been busy making shoes.
Making shoes?
Yeah, I live in New England, so I make shoes. The soil, it's really bad for farming.
Right. So Cromwell just made it so we can't trade with any country but England.
What? That's not fair. Some of my best customers are any country but England.
I know, right?
Who does Cromwell think he is? I'm the Lord Protector, and I rule Britain and its territories along with Parliament and an iron fist. Ha ha ha! Well, that's not fair. I don't march like that.
I don't either. What shall we do?
What to do indeed. Around 1715, some people began to question the way of accepted thinking. They wondered if they really had to do what Britain said they did.
I'm John Locke. I'm part of the Enlightenment movement. I think everyone should be reasonable and question everything. Everybody has God-given rights, and no one should try to take those away. I'm Isaac Newton. One day I was just sitting by myself under an apple tree and bang! This apple, it falls down and clocks me on my head. It got me thinking. Excellent. I know, right? I figured no one had ever really thought about why stuff falls before. So I studied it and I changed science forever. I am Voltaire. I am French. I am a famous writer and thinker. My friends, John and Ezekiel, are perfect examples of the Enlightenment. I wanted everyone to be able to say whatever they want.
Yes, the Enlightenment gave colonists opportunities to examine their relationship with the British. In fact, one enlightened individual thinker is the mind behind many things we use today, such as bifocals and lightning rods. I am Benjamin Franklin. My face is on the $100 bill. I think this is awesome because I was not even a US president, but I get to be on a more expensive bill than George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. I was very instrumental in the fight for independence. Many of my ideas came from the Enlightenment. Thank you, Ben. Although the British passed the Navigation Acts in 1651, over the next century they began a practice called salutary neglect.
Hey there.
Oh, it's you again, is it?
Yeah, it's me again. Listen, have you heard from the British recently? Like, have you seen them around?
Not really. My friend, the other day, he traded some goods with some French guy, and nothing happened to him.
Right, and a buddy of mine, he's a sailor, and his ship sailed to Spain, and he sold them lots of things, and he didn't even get in trouble.
I'm King George the Third. I am in charge of England now. I took over for my father in 1760, but I am really focused on things over here in Europe. I don't have time to deal with you silly little colonists.
Hey, that's not fair. We're not silly.
As long as the colonists aren't being really, really bad and trying to overthrow me, I'm not going to enforce any laws or rules they should be following, just like my father did before me and his father did before him.
I quite like that.
Me too.
What's that called? There's got to be a name for that.
There is indeed. King George III, was practicing salutary neglect. The colonists got very used to this and being able to do what they wanted, and govern themselves with little interference from the crown. But that would come to an end soon enough.
Oh, we are Frenchmen. We live in North America. We own the land west of the British colonies and north of the Spanish colonies. We trade lots of fur. Oh, we want to control the Ohio River Valley.
You can't have that land. It's England's.
It is not.
It most certainly is too.
Do you want to fight me for it?
I believe I do. They fought from 1754 to 1763. This was known as the 7 Years' War, although it actually lasted 9 years.
We are going to win.
No, we are going to win.
No, we will get the Algonquin natives to fight with us.
Well, we will get the Iroquois natives to fight with us. And so they did.
All right, we have had enough.
Good. Give us all your land in North America.
We do not want to give away all our land.
Too bad. Give it to us now.
Hey, look, those French people are gone. Now we can go settle west of here. Our soil needs a break, and we've got a lot of people. I bet moving out there where those French people were is a great idea.
I think people still live there.
Really? Who?
Well, I'm pretty sure there are lots of Native Americans who live there that don't want us moving onto their land.
That's just silly.
Colonists may not settle in the West, in former French lands. I want to prevent war with the natives.
So, where can we move to?
You may move anywhere east of this line.
East of that line? I can't go west of the line.
You may not.
How am I supposed to know where the line is? On the ground?
Pardon?
The line? On the ground? Are you going to build a wall?
Of course I'm not going to build a wall.
What about a very small fence?
Don't be ridiculous. I'm not going to build a small fence.
Well, then how can I be sure where the line is?
He makes a good point. Stay away from the west.
See, like, if I'm here, is this too far? What about if I just stand a little bit to the right? Am I over the line? Am I on the line? I can't tell.
Stay home.
Let's go move out west anyway.
The colonists' actions were quite upsetting to the poor King George III, so he decided to do something about it. I, King George III, proclaim here and now in 1763, at the end of the 7 Years' War, that actually lasted 9 years, that no colonist may settle west of my imaginary line. Unfortunately, the colonists ignored King George's proclamation, but as much as that upset the king, he had a bigger problem. I am King George III. I beat France in the 7 Years' War that actually lasted 9 years. But now I have no more money. I used all my money to win the war. I like money. How can I get more money to replace the money I spent to win the war?
Oh, I know.
Do you have an idea?
I do.
What?
If
We Tax the colonists. Tax them, you say?
Yeah, tax them. Make them pay us.
But they aren't represented in Parliament. Isn't that against British law to tax a British subject without representation in Parliament?
Well, maybe they'll forget that part.
But they did not.
It's 1765. We members of Parliament adopt the Stamp Act. What's the Stamp Act?
It's really brilliant. Listen to this. So, this requires the colonists to only use paper with a special stamp on it. The only place they can get it from is here in England. And they can only buy it with British coins. They can't use their silly paper colony money.
But haven't they got their own paper?
Probably.
Then why would they want to use stamped paper from us?
They don't, but they have to anyway. That's the beauty of it all. They're paying us to use something they don't even want.
That is brilliant.
I am the ghost of Oliver Cromwell. This idea is not brilliant. The colonists will be very angry, and it will lead to rebellion. Right, perfect. Pass the Stamp Act. And so, in 1765, they did.
Aye, can you believe what just happened?
I didn't do it. What? Aren't you talking about the herd of sheep that got loose the other day?
No, what?
Nothing. What happened?
Parliament just passed this ridiculous Stamp Act.
A Stamp Act? What's that? We can't use our own paper. Run that by me again.
We can't use our own paper. We can only use paper from England. It has to have this special stamp on it.
Oh, Stamp Act. It makes sense now. But wait, we can't use our own paper? We have to get all our paper from England?
Yes.
Again, yes. That is absurd. They can't be serious.
Oh, they are.
Well, I think we need to let them know they can't do this. I can do this because I also passed the Declaratory Act, and that gives me and Parliament complete and total control over the colonists. So you are going to pay the taxes so I can get my money back and be wealthy again. Let's go to New York in October of this year. It's 1765, by the way, and meet with a bunch of other colonists about this. I'm down with that. Let's call it the Stamp Act Congress.
Oh, that's catchy. It's catchy.
Well, thank you. So the colonists got together and drew up a petition for King George III to repeal the Stamp Act. It is 1766. I will repeal the Stamp Act.
Yay!
I am King George. I love money. I got quite a lot of money from my colonists through the Stamp Act. Now that the Stamp Act has been repealed, how am I going to get more money?
Oh, pick me, pick me.
What's your idea? We could tax them again. That is quite brilliant.
It's 1767. I shall draw up the acts and tax imported goods like lead and glass. I am also pretty sure the colonists won't want to follow these regulations, so I'm going to establish a special task force to enforce it.
Excellent.
Thank you, my lord.
And so the Townshend Acts, as they became known in the colonies, went into effect. But the effects, as it were not pretty.
Are they joking?
I don't think so.
They're completely mad. They can't tax us like this. We're not represented in Parliament. I'm
not paying these taxes. Governors, dissolve the local assemblies and make life terrible for the colonists until they learn their lesson. On the contrary, my king, right now, here, we are going to form an intricate network of communication so we know what's going on with you trying to strip us of our fundamental rights. I'm Samuel Adams, and I won't stand for this. Well, what are we going to call it? I will call them correspondence committees. Oh, I want to be on a committee. And so correspondence committees were formed in townships across the colonies, but they weren't able to stop the British from tightening its hold. Did you go to the market today? March 5th, 1770? I couldn't. Too much traffic. For what? Some sort of scuffle in the town square. British soldiers shot about a dozen people. At least a few died. Poor Crispus Attucks. I liked him. I really did. Crispus? That freed slave? Oh, it's terrible news. Terrible. Yes, the Boston Massacre was just one event on the road to revolution, but the British weren't finished yet. I do not have enough money. More taxes. More taxes from the colonists. Tea! Tea? What about it? What if we made a law that said the only tea the colonists could buy was the tea from British East India Company? And then we said they couldn't sell their own tea either. That would bring in a lot more money, it would. Brilliant, let's do it. And so, in May 1773, they passed the Tea Act. But the colonists did not think it was brilliant. What is wrong with these British people? Are they out of their minds? How could they think we would agree to this? Well, at this point, I don't think they care if we agree with them or not. Well, I'm done. Let's shut this down. Do you have any ideas? Well, I have one thing. It's kind of a secret. Oh, okay, I can keep a secret. I'm in a special society. It's called the Sons of Liberty. The Sons of Liberty! Shh! Yeah, that's right. It's December 16th, 1773. Meet me at the docks in 3 hours and you'll see what we've got planned. The Sons of Liberty dumped hundreds of thousands of British pounds worth of tea into the harbour in protest that day. The Crown squeezed its fist even tighter around Boston's neck with the coercive acts. But instead of cutting ties and letting Boston go down for its protests, the other colonies rallied together. Hey, remember when we all went on that weekend trip to New York for that Stamp Act Congress thing? Yeah, I remember. A couple of us from each colony are getting together again to make a plan to deal with this utter rubbish from Britain. We're meeting in Philadelphia in the fall of 1774. Yeah, well, can't wait too long. These intolerable acts are really intolerable. Intolerable acts? I haven't heard of those. Sure you have. You might know them as the coercive acts. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, thanks for that. So the delegates met at the First Continental Congress and issued a declaration of colonial rights and grievances. Do you think we should just tell them we want to drop them altogether? No, it's too soon for that. I mean, that's what's going to happen eventually, but we've got to make it look like we tried to make it work. But it didn't work. The American Revolution officially began at the battles of Lexington and Concord in April 1775. It would take a few years and some help from France. Ho, we are Frenchmen. Yes, we would love to help you defeat our nemesis, the British. Of course, we will give you money and troops and guns. Before the United States was able to declare victory with the Treaty of Paris in 1783. Man, That was a couple rough years. Too right. I'm tired. Let's go on holiday. Wait! You can't leave yet. We have to build a government. I'm Thomas Jefferson, and the states have to have some central power to unite them. Well, that seems like an awfully time-consuming project. It really does. Can't you do that without us? Or at least hold off until we can make another video? And so they did. The end.